I'll give you this point. Trump looks a lot and sounds a lot more hearty and robust and healthy. That's true. He's a city roach. He eat the worst things he eats, the stronger he gets. You cannot kill him. No, I
He's
agree.
also the only guy that didn't noticeably age the moment he got into the White House.
No, we did. We aged when he was in office. He was fine. You're right. He didn't look like he aged. He always looks the same. But he's a criminal, and he's crazy, and he's stupid. And crazy and stupid are two different things.
When you say crazy, what do you base
Okay,
that on?
let me give you an example.
All right, guys. So I want to react to another conversation here between Bill Maher and Joe Rogan. And the reason why I'm reacting to it is because Bill Maher and Joe Rogan represent what I think is probably the most important vote in the country if we're talking about identity politics and demographic, especially coming up in 2024, which is the white male classical liberal vote, right? These two guys, Joe Rogan and Bill Maher, I would define as classical liberals, with Joe Rogan being more leaning towards being a libertarian, more so than liberal, but I would probably still throw him in the bucket of classical liberal, okay? And I really do believe that the white male vote in 2024 will be the decisive vote, okay? We love talking about the black vote, the women's vote, right, the Hispanic vote. We got to talk about the white male vote because the demographic that Trump did worse with, that actually really cost him the election in 2020, if you believe the exit polls, is the white male vote, okay? Trump actually made grounds with women. He did better with women in 2020 versus 2016, but he did worse with men, more specifically white men. And in my opinion, that's the real reason why he lost, because that makes up a larger share of the voters just based off basic demographics in math, okay? But you never hear that narrative, okay? And that's why I think it's important to pay attention to these conversations between people like Bill Maher and Joe Rogan, because I really do think that they tell you where this demographic is, specifically those people who are independent to moderate and left-leaning on the political spectrum and what they think. I think the overall takeaway is that everybody agrees that Biden's a disaster, right? For the most part. However, you have some people like Rogan who may not like Trump, but they're open-minded to voting for Trump because they know how much of a disaster Biden is. And then you got some people like Bill Maher who, again, knows how much of a disaster Biden is, but doesn't care and will vote Biden. He will line up and vote blue no matter who, simply because his Trump derangement syndrome is out of control, right? He really needs to lay on somebody's couch and get it checked out. And that is basically the takeaway from this conversation, this debate that Bill Maher and Joe Rogan are going to have on Trump, in which Bill Maher calls Trump a criminal, but can't explain what he's charged with in this Unhinged TDS meltdown. So without further ado, we're going to get into it, but first we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, Noble Gold. Do you want to take control of your financial future, but you don't know where to start? Well, trust me, Noble Gold understands. Investing in precious metals may sound confusing, but the team at Noble Gold Investments makes it easy. Let's hear from actual Noble Gold investment customers. Quote, the staff answer all my questions and help me every step of the way. Quote, no pressure, sales tactics, just honest guidance. Quote, securing my future is less stressful thanks to Noble Gold's expertise. Don't settle for financial uncertainty. They'll suggest options to see if you can diversify into gold and silver. And right now, Noble Gold Investments is offering a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful bullion coin for qualifying accounts and rollovers. Don't settle for financial uncertainty. Noble Gold Investments has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless of 5-star reviews. So why wait? Go to noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. The only gold company I trust. And just remember, there's a risk with every investment and there's no guarantee of any kind.
Goes along with all the woke nonsense because he doesn't want to fight that wing of his party. He can't afford to have a battle on the left.
Yeah.
So That's my big issue with him. I know you have others.
Well, my biggest issue is he lies a lot, and he's probably
certainly not more than Trump.
Oh,
please, come
on,
man.
Well, listen, I think they both lie. I mean, I don't like that more than this guy. Because I want to just, if you want to talk about Trump, we could talk about Trump. But if you just talk about Biden, I don't think comparing him to Trump does anybody any good. You just look at the Belize situation.
Does because they're running against each other.
Yeah, okay.
So it's kind of necessary.
It could if you want to talk about in terms of an election. But you talk about in terms of the guy who's in office right now. Like, why don't I like him? Well, one of the things that I don't like has nothing to do with any of his choices, is that he's mentally compromised. I think there's something wrong. And I think it's clear.
As if the other guy isn't.
Well, okay.
Again, Bill Maher here, of course he brings up Trump because you can't talk about Biden without bringing up Trump. Okay, you can't say, hey, this is why I dislike Biden without Bill Maher saying, well, what about Trump? He's like, well, Trump's not his opponent yet, okay? Trump hasn't won the primary yet, even though most likely he will. We're just talking about Biden, why we don't like Biden. But of course you got to bring up Trump because in Bill Maher's head, it doesn't matter how clearly it is that Joe Biden is deteriorating in front of our eyes. That will never be worse than Trump, right? Again, the TDS here is out of control.
Okay, he speaks much clearer. He might be crazy. He might be a sociopath.
Is crazy.
Exactly.
He's crazy and stupid.
Say all those things, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that there's something wrong with Biden.
Exactly. And Trump is actually mentally competent, right? He's actually there, okay? He still has a good head on his shoulders. He has not mentally deteriorated the way that Biden has, okay? He hasn't physically deteriorated the way that Biden has. Biden looks like he's on his last legs, okay? That's just the honest to God truth. Again, I hope that I'm wrong, okay? I hope that Biden, goes on to live another 20 years, okay? He gets the Jimmy Carter, right? I hope so, but... the dude, he looking weak. He looking frail. Everybody can see it. But again, in Bill Maher's mind, it doesn't matter but Trump, right? Orange man bad.
Like he makes up words. He stumbles through things. It seems like he doesn't know where he is half the time. He's very, very old. That's my problem with him.
Again, none of these are problems with Trump, right? None of these are issues with Trump.
Okay. Well, again, we're living in a world where perfect is not on the menu. These are the choices we're going to have. This is going to be who's running next time. You're going to have a doddering old man.
Do you definitely think that Biden's going to make it to the 2024 elections? Because I'm not convinced.
Well, who knows? Yeah, he might not, and so might not Trump.
Right. Both of them could die at any minute now.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're like 70, whatever years old, 78 years old.
One is 77, one is 80.
Yeah, that's the end of the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're on E. Right? You might make it to town, but you might die on the side of the road. You're
There's also blue zones where people live to 100.
They don't look like those guys.
No, they look better.
Yeah, they're thin and active.
Biden's thin.
That's true.
Trump is not.
But he's thin like skeletal thin.
Yeah.
Like he's thin like frail. Like where he looks like he's just going to fall down a lot.
I'll give you this point. Trump looks a lot and sounds a lot more hardy and robust and healthy. That's true. He's a city roach. He the worst things he eats, the stronger he gets. You cannot kill him. No, I agree.
He's also the only guy that didn't noticeably age the moment he got into the White House.
No, we did.
Trump is basically Teflon at this point, right? Nothing can harm the guy. Eating Big Macs, right? Doesn't harm him, okay? The attacks from the left don't harm him. Indictments don't harm him. Nothing can stop this guy. Nothing can stop him. That actually is true. Okay, I do kind of agree. Like Trump just absorbs anything bad, right? And it just helps him out.
We aged when he was in office. He was fine. You're right. He didn't look like he aged. He always looks the same. But he's a criminal. And he's crazy, and he's stupid. And crazy and stupid are two different things.
When you say crazy, what do you base it on?
Okay, let me give you an example. Stupid is like Frederick Douglass is alive, or the stealth bomber is literally invisible.
Right.
Or nobody knew health care was hard to solve. That's just stupid. He's very stupid. Crazy is like it's important that the crowd at my inauguration was the biggest ever. And I'm going to make an issue of this for the first 2 weeks of my presidency, despite photographic evidence to the contrary. Or I'm going to steal these documents that I don't even know what they are, and I don't care, and I'm going to put them next to the toilet at Mar-a-Lago, and then I'm going to fight you to take them back, or not conceding the election. Those things are crazy. Or
since we're playing the whataboutism game, right? Right? Because Bill Maher loves doing whataboutism when it comes to any criticism of Biden, right? What about Trump? Okay, well, what do you think about all these statements that Biden has made? What do you think about Biden continuously claiming that his son died in Iraq, even though his son didn't die in Iraq? Is that stupid or is that crazy? What do you think about Biden coming up with these crazy stories about how he got arrested? Is that stupid or is that crazy? Biden says stupid and crazy things all the time, and Bill Maher doesn't have a problem with it, right? I mean, a lot of stuff that Biden says is just a flat out lie, but some of it is because, you know, Biden, again, is clearly having some issues, right? Cognitively, okay? And Bill Maher seems to think that that's not a big deal, right? That's not something to really be concerned about, because in his mind, Trump is the worst thing ever, right? This is what I'm talking about. There are people out here who vote like this, who know that Biden's terrible, but he doesn't care because, again, he's so deranged over Trump, who under Trump, you know, this country was in a much better place, objectively. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. But it doesn't matter to him. Damn the country, right? Damn the economy, damn the border, damn law and order. I don't like Trump. It's insane to me. It really is.
Thinking I can somehow charm Kim Jong-un in Korea, although that might be stupid. Sometimes it crosses the line between both. But he's both stupid and crazy.
Again, so this guy has a problem with Trump trying to use diplomacy, right? Trying to talk to our enemies and come to a peaceful agreement that works out in the interest of both countries. See, again, the criticism of Trump are just so silly to me. Like, when they talk about Trump's relationship with Putin, I'm like, again, how are you supposed to do diplomacy? How are you supposed to sit down and talk with your enemy if all you're doing is trashing your enemy, talking junk about him, smearing them in the media all day? That to me doesn't sound like diplomacy. That sounds like you want a war. Trump says, I don't want war, and he gets criticized for not wanting war. This guy, Trump does not get enough credit for not starting any new wars. Trump does not get enough credit for bringing peace to the Middle East. Trump does not get enough credit for the Abraham Accords. We're talking about historic. Ever since I've been alive, all I remember is fighting and conflict going on in the Middle East until Trump. But again, you got people like this guy. He's so deranged that he thinks Trump talking to the leader of North Korea is somehow stupid or crazy. It's insane.
And he's a criminal. You know, he's not being charged in these trials because he's a liar. They purposely didn't do that. Apparently it's okay. It's not illegal to lie to the American people. And of course he did lie and continues to lie. He still hasn't conceded the election, which he plainly lost. He's charged with actual crimes. Criminal intent to obscure, I forget what the actual name of the law is, but criminal intent to basically steal the election or to coerce people in the states from, I forget what it is.
All this Trump derangement syndrome, right? All this obsession with Trump. But this guy is struggling. He's struggling to even explain the charges. He's struggling to explain the charge. All this obsession. This man's nose is all up Trump's jockstrap 24/7. But he can't explain why or what Trump is being charged with. Although Bill Maher claims that Trump was a criminal, but can't really explain the criminal actions. Amazing. This is your brain on MSNBC, guys. Or CNN. I guess, CNN airs his show. So I guess this is your brain on CNN. Doesn't matter. He don't even know what Trump is being charged with. He knows Trump a criminal though.
And then there's one forgery, which has to do with the electors scheme. criminal intent for.
What is the forgery?
That's the slate of electors he was putting forward, the fake slate of electors. And then there was the one.
Here it is. We can read it. 3 counts of solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. So he's trying to get someone to violate their oath. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit false statements and writing. 2 counts of false statements and writings. Violation of a Georgia RICO Act. Conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer. Wonder what that is. Conspiracy to commit filing false documents and filing false documents. Then this is all based on the election results.
Well, there's also felony solicitation of violation of oath. Felony solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. That was what when he was talking to Ratzenberger. That's the "I need you to find me 11,000 votes." There's also one. I mean, there's two cases about trying to steal the election. One, the national case that Jack Smith is prosecuting, and then there's the one in Georgia. Now, they cross paths in a lot. But basically, I mean, yes, he tried every possible way to steal this election. He tried to do it through the courts. He tried to do it through state legislatures. He tried to do it through intimidating Mike Pence. He tried to do it through the Justice Department. They talked about seizing voting machines.
And all this type of stuff, are things that Democrats have tried in the past when it comes to Trump, right? They tried to impeach him twice, okay? They never accepted that the outcome of the 2016 election was legitimate. They've tried every single time they lose an election to try to challenge the election against a Republican. And in 2024, they're going into this election trying to remove political opponents from the ballot, right? Trying to persecute them politically.
They talked about using the army. I mean, you can't really believe that this guy is not worse than Joe Biden. I mean, I agree. Biden is not a great president. And the Hunter Biden stuff is a stinky conspiracy. Not a conspiracy, a stinky scandal.
I see, again, what is all that stuff that Bill Maher talked about have to do with Trump being president in 2024? He's going to leave, right? In 2028, he's done. He's going to be old, right? He's going to be old. He's going to be done. There's no threat of another January 6th. If Trump, these people act like Trump's going to tear down the country if he takes back office. He might lock some Democrats up, right? But I don't think that he's going to, quote unquote, overthrow democracy or suspend elections after he gets elected. He's not doing that. I don't think he'd be allowed to do that. That's why we have a system of checks and balances in the government for this very reason. But again, these people are fear-mongering about Trump getting back in office, and there's nothing to fear-monger about. He only can be there one term, and that's it.
That stinks to the high heavens. If you think that in any way compares to what Trump tried to do, you just cannot tell unlike things apart.
Yeah, but again, Trump was a great president. Biden's not. There is no threat of January 6th happening again if Trump is elected. It's not going to happen.
You're saying this just based on what happened after the election? Just that stuff?
Yes. Well, that's the criminal part, yes.
Have you ever tried to steel man his position? Like, do you think he really believes they stole the election, or do you think he's bullshitting?
Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter.
Who gives a fuck?
Who gives a fuck if he really believes it?
But I mean, if he really believes there's evidence that the election was rigged.
No, I don't care. No, first of all.
Well, it matters because you need to prove intent in order to actually find him guilty. Okay? If he actually really does believe his claims about the election, which we don't have any proof that he doesn't, then that again, that's not a crime, right? It's not a crime to do what he was doing if he actually really believed it. It becomes a crime if he actually didn't really believe it and then he wanted to do it anyways, hence the conspiracy part.
That was part of the January 6th committee's findings. He has multiple people, all the people around him told him that he lost that election, including Bill Barr, you know, and he admitted, one of his quotes was that they have on record of him saying, "I don't want people to know I lost this election."
That's kind of crazy.
Well, he's crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
I mean, it's insane that you can't let go of the idea that you can't be seen as a loser. There's a certain I always said this in the beginning. It all comes back to he is a clinical case of malignant narcissism.
And Biden doesn't, right? Biden doesn't. Again, people call Trump a narcissist, which, hey, I think there's truth to the claim that anybody that's in politics really is a narcissist. Okay, you have to be a narcissist to be a politician. And I'm just saying you have to have some degree of narcissism. But I think Biden is far more narcissist than Trump. Okay, I mean, Hunter Biden is what happens when you have a child that has been exposed to narcissism his whole life. Okay, I mean, just pay attention to how Hunter Biden talked about the family name and the Biden brand and him and his father. The Bidens have narcissism written all over them.
It's not just a quirk. It's actually in the big book of crazy, that.
Right.
I mean, it's a real thing. And it affects everything he thinks and does. It's why foreign leaders were able to curry favor with him. All they had to do was kiss his ass and they got whatever they wanted. Do I really think that he wants to help Russia and Putin? I think Putin had him as soon as he said, Trump is a brilliant man. Good, you got me. It doesn't take that much. He's a dangerous guy. The idea that he could be president again, as opposed to Joe Biden, again, Joe Biden, not my first choice, not my 100th choice, but the other guy is a crazy.
Yeah, so again, this guy's derangement is so out of control that when Trump was president, great economy, everything was great until the COVID stuff, which I don't really blame him for, but still, he would much rather have Biden than Trump back in office because he just hates Trump. This is the problem, right? This is the problem. People like Bill Maher, again, the level of Trump derangement syndrome, it's a crisis. We really got to lay thousands of people on a couch and get them to talk to a professional about this issue, right? Because this is unhealthy. This is an unhealthy level of derangement. You're so deranged that you would vote for a terrible country over a guy who clearly would be a better president. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.